Okay, everybody, so we're going to start this new thing up on the top here, and I thought the best thing to try and make, so you can see from the top, is casserole walls or some sort of oval short dish walls, so that later, hopefully I remember to make this video, we can go ahead and squish those walls and make it into whatever shape we want. Now, this is on selfie mode. So this is my right hand. This is my left hand. I don't know if it translates well, only because the camera's hanging. I don't know. We'll see. I got some time, so let's try it. This is 5 pounds. Now, to make something about this big, you would want about 6 pounds. But here's the deal with this. We're not going to have a floor. So because we don't have a floor, that's about 1 pound of clay right in itself, just like a foot. A foot adds about 4 ounces of clay to the bottom of your pot. So you want to make that decision when you're weighing out your ball. I'm starting with a larger bat because what I'm going to try and do is get those walls to go past the pins. The pins can be a problem. So we want this to be wide enough so that the wall goes all the way out to the outside here. So I'm sort of going to skip the actual details of this. So there's a lot of things that you could do with a wall. So there's a lot of things that can be done with a bottomless pot. You can make something oval, you can make something angular. You could literally cut those walls out into pieces and make them into spouts for your pitchers. I highly suggest one of my favorite potters in the entire universe is Stephen Hill at Insika. I won't even go talk to him. I'm so enamored by him. Him and Jack York, and I've made a fool out of myself in front of him. So anyway, so you can use the walls of your pot to do a lot of things. You can make altered pots. There's lots of reasons to do this, but here's the main skill of it all. So basically what you've noticed, I've centered tall and narrow. Although I'm going to want this all the way out here eventually, it's super hard to center clay when it's flat and wide. So think about tectonic plates. When they hit each other, they either become a mountain or they become a divot, I guess, in the world, whatever that's called, canyon. So we want it to cone up and down. You'd want it to go up, but we can't guarantee that. When you have something wide and flat, when you push the outside here, it's not necessarily going to affect the center the way you want it to. But if you're narrow, I can push from the wide side of the walls and hopefully get that mountain to come up. So now the tricky part here now is to make this wide and flat and keeping it in center. So I'm going to do that gradually. I'm going to be pushing down technically in the center. That's going to make these clay grains go running for the edges, and this hand is going to catch them so that they stop where you want them to stop. So I'm using the side of my right hand, pinky in the center, and I'm using also this whole palm here to sort of control the clay. So as it starts to ooze out of the top and the sides, it starts to be some sort of that tired donut shape. We don't want to get any air under here. We want to be able to push that back in. So what this hand is doing is pushing that sort of butt back into the clay so that we don't end up with an air bubble under there. So I go down a little and then in a little. So you're not seeing how I'm doing it because I'm doing it in one motion. I'm going down and in. And hopefully, as you start to do that, the clay will stay centered. I'm going to get my whole body in here, start to push down with the whole side of my hand. I'll even start to sort of pull back a little bit with my top hand. I want to make sure I don't pull back too quickly because this clay is going to then create that sort of spaceship donut thing. So as we're pushing down in the center, making those clay grains run to the sides, this hand is pushing it back in, going, hey, don't go that far. Like a child in a playground. Now remember, we want to try and go past those back pins. This is especially important if you are making something with a floor. Those bat pins will really affect where you have a little bit of a divot in the bottom. Also, you want to think about if you were trimming something, right? If you're trimming something, you want whatever you're trimming to go over those bat pins, because I like to trim straight on the wheel head and not use a bat. If it's hit those wheel heads, those bat pins, then I will tend to use a plastic bat because the plastic lets that stick. as compared to the masonite, but that's another video. All right, so what I've got here for the 5 pounds of clay is probably, I never have a ruler near me, but I'm gonna say that that's probably about 11, 12 inches. Now, this is about 1 inch high, so this is gonna take all of this clay from the center and add it to the walls. Now, if I was just gonna build this up, this would probably become about 2 inches high, because we would scoop this out and build it higher. But because we're gonna get rid of the center here, we're gonna actually end up with probably about 3 inches high. Now I'm gonna do this with my sponge. I'm gonna start to push down. Notice that my left hand is sort of controlling that clay. Again, it serves as a wall so that some of those clay grains can't go running for the hills. And I'm gonna go all the way down to the bat. So I should see a little bit of brown there. I don't know if you can, but you see that little that came up there? I'm gonna compress that back in. Otherwise, it's literally just gonna come off as I start to open. There are 2 ways to do this. You could have also sort of opened all the way and pulled back. I find that a little harder. And then when it was tall and wide, you can go all the way down and then pull. But again, I'm always afraid that that wall is gonna fold over and I'm gonna get that little air pocket under there. So I prefer to do it this way, just a little gradual. So now I'm starting to pull back. What I'm doing is I'm using all sorts of parts of my hands and arms to sort of compress that. I'm using this here to push this. I'm using my sponge to sort of compress it down, and the side of my hand. And then every time this sort of thing happens here, I just want to sort of tell that clay that it's going to be part of the wall. This does take a little bit of strength, I'm not going to lie, so I'm pulling my elbows towards my body, depending on how much clay you have. I would always start with a much smaller version before you go and try something new. My big pots class, my advanced class, we started doing moon jars, or just sort of round pots. So we started with 1.5 pounds just to sort of get that motion. And then you always build up. When I was in college, we always made sketches, quote unquote, of things. And we did that with sculptures. And we did that with, oh, I hit a little dry thing there, so we might have thrown it off a little. Sculptures, or even just any sort of new shape. You always want to try with something small. And especially if you haven't thrown in a while, don't just throw 5 pounds of clay on your bat and go, hey, I'm gonna throw a bottle or a Wallace pot. So we did go off center a little bit. I will let you know that big clay is a little more forgiving. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna do that thing where I hold my hands in the back here. It's in my left hand again. I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna claw. And I'm just gonna, with the wheel, go fast, just sort of push my elbows on my thighs. Super important. Pulling your arms back into your body is always really important. If you just sort of float up here, then you're just going wherever the clay wants to go. See that arm fat moving like that? I don't know if you can. But I wanna push down and in with the wheel going fast. I'm just sort of correct it. As long as you were centered at one point with bigger clay, you could probably fix it. So what I'm gonna do now is to start to pull with my left fingers towards my palm and towards my thumb. Wheel going fast, just sort of scraping. What's really important here, again, is that we don't have this just hang over. So my thumb is really pushing that clay down into that crevice, because we don't want that to be sort of jumping up over where we want that wall to be. Just sort of pulling it towards me. Now, if this is not completely clean, it's not the end of the world. That's all gonna go away. We do want it to be even though, because if you don't pull even and you end up with a couple of extra clay grains in one spot or another, that wall's gonna be a little taller. Now, we can cut that off. It's not a big deal. But we wanna try and make this as easy as possible, or as foolproof as possible. So now I've sort of got my thick wall. So this is almost as if I had a small amount of clay and I just sort of opened it up a little bit. Let me clean this up a little just so you can see sort of the wonder of not having a floor. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to start to pull this wall up. What is most important right now is that we still pull into like a volcano. With the clay being so close to the edges, it has more freedom to kind of go out. Now, you could do that if you were making sort of a short, wide, shallow like baking dish, because you wouldn't mind if those walls slanted out. But we want to shape this, and it's very hard to kind of get that shape we want if these walls are not going straight up and down. So we want to start down on the bottom. We're going to start to do that pull, hang out down here for a little while. And I'm going to lean towards, I slowed my wheel down. Don't forget to slow your wheel down. And I'm going to lean towards the center. So my hands are going to end up over here. If your hands end up over here, that clay is going to go out wide. Now, it's also really important, just like with a bowl, is that we want to maintain a thick lip. So a thick lip is going to help us really kind of shape our pot. So I loosen up near the top there, and I go out. Actually, I'm not going to lie, I like a thick wall on anything that's going to go in the oven or anything that's going to carry a lot of food. Just sort of giving myself a little bit more clay. I'm opening it up a little wider. Bigger clay, you have a lot more, a little bit more freedom. Start to go up. Now, my walls right now are about a half an inch thick, and I'm okay with that. I'm gonna start to go up. I think somebody just walked in. Okay. Pull up again. Now this is more of a planter sort of thing, but we're gonna, maybe we could have went a little shorter with our walls. Alrighty. Now I like to give myself some finger marks because that's who I am. So I'm just putting my index finger in a little bit more. I'm gonna really accentuate that sort of bubble lip that I like. That's gonna help me get a nice firm rim. And maybe if I want to put handles on the side of this would be super important. Now I'm not gonna trim this, so what I need to do is take off all this excess sort of now. So I'm gonna get in here and get off as much as I can. Make that go away. Okay, so the next steps. I'm gonna let this sit for a few hours. I'm not gonna let it get too hard, but I am gonna let it get to like that soft leather, hard sort of flexible Italian leather space in its life. I'm gonna wire the bottom and then shape it. And hopefully I will remember. But the next thing I'm gonna do right now is go make a slab. You don't have to see me do that, I'm gonna use a machine. I'm looking for about a ½ inch thick. I'm just gonna leave that slab on a table until it gets also leather hard. That's it, good luck, have fun, see you later.